once you grasp this truth that I'm about to tell you, it'll set you free from religion. It'll set you free from parents and moms and family and governments and police, everybody. It'll set you free. And it's simply this. You are divine. God has exploded in a Crab Nebulae explosion, and he has come and manifested himself as billions of people. And you're one of you, and so am I. When I look at you, I see God. When you look at me, you see God. That's why God's name is I am. I am God. It doesn't mean that me, God. It means I am. When you say I am God, you have to say, what is God's name? I am. What? I am God. Oh my God, then all the people, Christians run around, I told you they think they're God. I don't think any of the other side. No, Jesus Christ said, the scripture says you are God, and the scripture cannot be broken. So he said it.
Yeah, like I'm not third album.
Peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, we are going to be discussing the Sagittarius full moon happening on May 23rd at 2 degrees. I know I'm a little early, but 2 degrees is a Taurus degree, so we are still very much analyzing and assessing the Taurus new moon and everything that has kind of come from the Scorpio full moon that we had, of secrets coming out, realizations, awakenings, kind of going through that dark night of the soul, seeing things for what they actually are, changing and transforming something that we're never going back to, right? And Taurus is the building of what we're not going back to. So we're letting go of stuff, we're releasing stuff, and we still have this stellium of planets in Taurus. Uranus, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter is still in Taurus. And Jupiter is at 29 degrees, which is an anaretic degree, like I mentioned in the Taurus video. Neptune is also at 29 degrees. And so this is definitely a spiritual awakening for sure, of things that our mind, our eyes have been open to things that we are just not going to be going back to, things that are out of our control, things that can seem malicious, and there's a undertow of people being secretive, people being other than what it is you want to connect to, and whether or not it's real or not, or true or not. I think the bigger picture, because Sagittarius is going to be about the bigger picture, is that spirit is aligning you. You can kind of look at this time as a divergent in the road of 2 different paths, 3 different paths, hell, 4 different paths, many different paths that you have to choose to go down. Which path are you going to choose? And spirit is pushing you through signs, symbols, synchronicities, shocking revelations and surprises, unexpected things coming up, again, outside of your control, communication, messages, emails, texts, Mercury communication, Venus relationships, your social life, who you socialize with, your connections, your relationships. It could be legal matters, contracts, agreements changing unexpectedly and out of the blue, that is sending you down a completely different path that you might not have foreseen. You might be thinking, I'm going this way. And spirit is like, no, you're going this way, and so it'll unfortunately be through people that you might have seen as allies, Venus, an ally, a job, something that was stable, sturdy, secure, Taurus, something that brought you peace, harmony, and solace, understanding, right? But this journey with the North Node in Aries is about the self. this journey is saying, I'm going to separate you from certain people because I want you to see what's special about you without having to hear it from somebody else or see it in somebody else. I'm going to shut all this down and really make you think, like, did you get that from that person or did it come from within you? Assessing that, analyzing that, realizing that, recognizing that, dealing with it, healing from it, accepting it, learning from it, growing and evolving Jupiter from it, and building on that for us, so that you can say what you've learned and what you've got for yourself through experience, through life experience, through the hard nights. Jupiter can be that through education, college, through um, reading, writing, Mercury, um, through who you watch, what you watch, what you're giving your energy to. What did you take from those things and how is those things helping you grow and evolve into this new path that it's gonna be new for all of us. We're all experiencing some kind of turmoil, challenges, problems that we're like, God, I can't deal with this person, this place, this thing right now. I have to focus on me so that I can take these new messages, ideas, and whatever it is you're trying to build on in a new way on my own. And so we're going to build on this with the Jupiter moving into Gemini. I think these culmination of full moons with Jupiter moving into Gemini is going to be an amazing year of exploratory learning, trying things, and building something for this new long-term goals that you might have. I think it's going to be amazing. I think this full moon, despite the fact that there's coming with some turmoil, the evolution of turmoil from Scorpio, and it really was the Uranus conjunction, not necessarily the new moon in Taurus. It was really about Uranus conjunct in Taurus because that's going to happen again. So I'll be posting this on Friday, the 10th, but Uranus is going to conjunct Taurus again. I believe it's two more times, or at least over a 2-day period before it moves into um, Uranus and Jupiter are going to conjunct again before Jupiter moves into Gemini. And so we're wrapping up um, a lot of things here and really getting the message and seeing things for what they are. And so again, 29 degrees is an anaretic degree, so we're culminating. This is a culmination point. Full moons are a culmination point of letting go of heightened emotions, growth, and a realization of Taurus themes. 2 degrees is money, wallets, banks, employees, in the bank, economy, villages, farms, countries of origin, food, kitchen, things that are fat, greasy, nature, forest, biology, your throat, your neck, vocals, singing, opera, to swallow, to grow, to raise, to have, to possess what's mine, and the color green. Taurus lives in the second house. It rules food, money, resources. Because we're talking about Sagittarius, Sagittarius is about the world. So this is global economics, material goods, self-worth, self-love, what we own, what we buy, um, art, um, uh, where we get our money from. So our paycheck. This could be side hustles and assets, your 401k, all these kinds of things. Here, what the Taurus being the opposite of Scorpio, assets, dividends, um, um, investments, life insurance, and things of that nature. These are considered things that are values. And so, what are you buying into? What do you spend your money on? Are these things that are going to fund or fulfill your long-term goals? This could be saving for college for your kids or yourself. Um, you know, it could be many things um, evolving around what you do with your money. I want to say more about that, but I think, that about covers it. And then Jupiter at 29 degrees is what we have learned from Jupiter being in Taurus over the last year. It's law, it's global matters, beliefs, philosophy. And because Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is in the South Node in Libra right now, there's endings, karmic endings at that, that we're letting go of, or karmic lessons that we're learning to evolve out of or from or through um, relationships. Um, this could be our relationships to our resources and what we value, how we look at those things, how we assess those things, what are our beliefs around those things. And then 29 degrees is a Leo degree. And so this is about love and romance, dating, relationships, sex, going out, celebrating, graduations, um, um, uh, restaurants, um, bars, concerts. This could also be pride, children, sports, um, drama for sure, gambling, a risk, rewards from taking a risk, pride. Um, we're looking at what we have um, uh, trying not to be like, look at what I have. What have I, look at what I've accumulated, being very vain, superior to others, avoidant, boasting. Instead, we want to teach others to invest in themselves. And so teaching through the lessons or teaching by example could be another way we could be showing up now. I think the biggest thing is going to be education with Jupiter moving into Gemini. And are you able to take the wisdom that you have learned and put it into application? And that's going to be a really, 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 really huge topic. I can't wait to talk about it. I'll be doing that next weekend, um, unless something else comes up. But um, I think that's going to be the bigger topic here, with Jupiter being in Gemini, is being able to apply the wisdom and knowledge that you are learning. Because Gemini is childhood education, Sagittarius is college, and then from your culture, from society, and then you have through your experiences. So taking the all of that culmination of information that you've been gathering or have gathered, and really looking at how that determines your beliefs, your values, what you spend, what you buy, the jobs you take. Um, are you capitalizing on those opportunities, and how to do that, and then teaching other people how to do that. And other people, I think 9 times out of 10, we're talking about family, right? I think diversity is going to be another big topic that comes up with Jupiter and Gemini, where we're discussing um, why it's important to invest in yourself, your family. That idea of cuppeth runneth over. Take care of yourself first, expand that out to your children, and then you can worry about family, and others. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But then you have Sagittarius, which is a mutable fire sign. It rules growth and expansion, adventure, optimism, freedom, and exploration. This is about broadening our experience, engaging in philosophical conversations in a broad way, going after your dreams. You're definitely going to see more entrepreneurship as everything kind of society is falling. And then we had that awakening from that Scorpio full moons. Like, it's like, again, we can't go back to it. And not only can we not go back to it because our third eye is open, but we can't go back to it because those structures are falling. So what new things are going to come of this thing? And of course, we got AI trying to come in and replace a lot of those things as a way to keep people kind of you know, in this lower vibration, but a lot of people are going to come up out of that and use their God-given talents and capitalize on that. And that's going to be, that's going to happen over time. But I do think this is like the seeding point from that Taurus new moon of that realization, like, yo, I really need to step up. I really have recognized who I am through a loss of something, something that has been taken from you, something that you thought your plan was solid, Taurus, fixed, secure, stable, reliable. Something of that is falling apart to the point where it's making you rethink how you use your God-given talents and skills. Um, and I really, 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 really like the way this is being set up right now, despite the ugliness, unfortunately, that's coming with that, which is really just a perception. I think over time, people will understand and learn. Now I know why back this time when you're forward looking back, now I know why this had to happen. Now I know why this person came into my life. Now I know why I took this class when I really needed this class. It's going to be it's going to be different for everybody. I'm just throwing little things out here and there, but there's going to be some kind of, oh, I get it now, even if you don't understand now. Because the North Node is always about going towards something where it's a clean slate. You have no idea what's coming or why this is happening to you. There could be a lot of questioning, like, damn, what the fuck did I do? I'm a stand upright citizen. Why is somebody coming for me? Why are people leaving my life? Why are jobs leaving my life? Why are, you know what I mean? And you may not understand, or it can come up in other ways. And again, I am going to talk about that in just a second here, that look like something negative, but really this is God setting you up for something higher. Sagittarius is, I think, in my personal opinion, after Scorpio change and transformation, you rise above, and now you have a different view of things. You no longer look at things like in this petty, argumentative, childlike, ignorant meaning like lack of knowledge kind of way. Now you have the knowledge and wisdom to understand I had to do this on my own so that I can own my power, so that I can take my power back, so that I can feel good about the decisions that I'm making, so that I can feel good about what I'm building. And we're also going to talk about in the Gemini Jupiter video the importance of having guides and the difference of knowing what a good guide is and negative. And that's just the difference between somebody throwing ideas into your head as opposed to saying, well, what is it that you want to do, and helping you build on that so that you can own what it is you're doing. And it's not this play on ego, right? And there's a process for that. And the reason why a lot of the things look in their lower vibration is because nobody's following the process. We're all just kind of out here doing what we do. And that's because it's the society, it's the culture, and that's how we're kind of raised in this way to believe and look at things from this perspective, right? But there is a way to do things. There is a correct way to do things so that um, people still say what they say, give their ideas, and have ownership of of what they are coming up with through exploration, learning, and understanding. Um, and so again, Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign. It rules growth, expansion, adventure, optimism, freedom, and exploration, broadening your experiences, engaging in philosophical conversations in a broad way, going after your dreams, definitely more entrepreneurships from some kind of frustration, combative conflict, confrontation, and fighting, right? And this is really talking about, I think when I think about this type of stuff, I think about the black sheeps of the family, the generational changers of the family, people who are out here really trying to make it and change the culture, change the negative societal norms and things of that nature. Jupiter can be your worldview, philosophy, religion, spirituality, culture, morals, ethics, spiritual law, like thou shalt not cheat, thou shalt not judge, thou shalt, all those things. That's spiritual law. And then you have federal law, laws, regulations, um, and then you have higher education, college, universities, teachers, spiritual guides, gurus, um, mentors. And this could also be lawyers too. I do think there's going to be a lot of legal stuff going on in here. Also, this could be um, public speaking, public service announcements, um, um, writing or publishing a book or published books. So libraries might come up about, something around that can be a really big deal at this time. Other countries, um, flying, definitely we're going to hear a lot about uh, the air industry. Um, all things related to flying, flights, and cargo coming in and out, or even things passing through borders, food and other resources that are shared between two countries, even education in other countries. Um, and if I didn't say culture already, culture is going to be a really big topic. And so when I think about these things, I always think about those people who are trying to change the culture. And I did talk a little bit about the rap battle going on between Drake and Kendrick. And I think um, it's really unfortunate that Drake had to be the fall guy to Kendrick's message. But like I said, this is going to look like a lot of people trying to downplay who you are, what gifts you have, where you've grown, what you've done and accomplished in some kind of way, um, as to bring truth out to the bigger societal influences on others. That's how I'm looking at this battle at this point. I think in the real world, on the 3D level, what Kendrick said about Drake on a personal level was fucked up. I was listening to that shit like, damn, nigga, like you gonna just air out all his business like that? Like, oof, I mean, my heart goes out to Drake, and I hope that he's dealing and doing well. Um, but again, looking at this from a Jupiterian perspective, what Kendrick wasn't even talking about Drake. Drake had nothing to do with what Kendrick was saying. He was just using him as a scapegoat to pinpoint all the issues that are plaguing us everyday people in a in a way that needs to be addressed, because we are looking at the Drakes and pop culture. We are looking up to these people, idealizing them as people as successful. Our children want to be like them. They want to grow up and do the things that they are portraying in the videos and the music, and and live lives as they see or hear these people doing, and it needs to stop because it's a death culture. It's a culture of endings. It's a lack of responsibility and accountability. Um, I was listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins talk about a video that he had seen Bobby Brown talking about going down memory lane, remembering when he first started, when he was young and agile, dancing and having all this access to money, which allowed him to do some really great things. But now, today, he's reflecting on, I wish I could go back and change what I would have done with that money today, as opposed to some of the things that he did, back then, which was, buying cars and leaving them. Um, I want to think of a few different ones if I can remember, but you guys can go to Boyce Watkins and watch his videos on his channel. I highly suggest that they're really good examples of what we're talking about right now. Um, and he mentioned he remembered seeing a woman getting kind of, talked down to in a rude kind of way in a restaurant one time. And he's looking at the managers like, you know what, you're fired. Told the girl, don't worry about it, and brought the restaurant and made some changes in that way. And that's a good thing. Hope he should have expanded on that. And that's what we are needing to expand to ultimately. um, and there were a few other things that mentioned, but again, I bring those things up because this is what we're assessing right now. This is living the life, glorifying these kind of negative, low vibrational behaviors, which is, the doctrine of unequal exchange, um, survivor's guilt, and economic immaturity, right? So the doctrine of unequal exchange is working with people who are not on your level or don't have anything to offer you, going back to the scapegoat, the generational curse breaker in the family. Once you make it to a certain level, you kind of get caught up in this mode of, I'm going to save everybody. And you end up giving out all your money, but um instead you should be investing in your 401k, saving for a rainy day, paying off bills, saving for college, and again, the life insurance stuff. That's the real flex, right? And a lot of people learn that a little too late. And this mostly goes to the people who are working really, really hard to get up and out and then wondering why they can't pass go, or why these things that are happening to them, like I was talking about in the beginning of the video, why people are falling out of your life, why situations are falling from your life, is because you have to continuously do the work. And so it's important not to avoid the issues, the trauma, and things that you have going on underneath the surface, behind the scenes, and continuously working on those as you are also building on the amazing and great things that are undoubtedly coming in through the Taurus and Sag moons, for sure. This, outside of all the drama, make no mistake, these two full moons are fucking fire. Like, I know people are feeling this. I'm not even gonna ask if you're feeling it. I know the energy is in the air that, you've had some kind of realization or awakening, like, I know what I have to do now. I know what I want to build further now. There's something that has become illuminated to you about this awesome, amazing thing that you are very optimistic about, working on your long-term goals, and that will grow over time. But if you don't address the problems, it becomes a tower moment, right? Where you are building on faulty ground. And that's just how our society is set up for us when we work within the society. It's like it doesn't really give us that Taurus sturdy foundation to build off of and continue building off of for each generation to come after us. All the great things that we're doing. How are you capitalizing on your value? Again, investments, dividends, um, um, savings, um, what are you putting those things into? What are you using those investments to build? I can go on and on and on, but I think you guys get the idea here. So when you start building this new foundation, be mindful not to ignore the parts and areas of your life where you are not good at. Accept it, heal from it, acknowledge it, do not pass it by. You are being given an opportunity to be your greatest self, despite how that might be showing up. This is the process. In the real world, or let's say in a you know, when things were great, back when things were great, these look like bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, coming of age, where there will be a celebration or a graduation of some kind of party of passing the torch. And again, there was a process to all of this stuff, but now a lot of those things have turned into looking to people who are considered to be in high status, spending their money to prove that they're somebody. This is economic immaturity. We want to grow and evolve to economic maturity, right? And so it's hard when you're bombarded with all this information all the time. And then it's through music and art and the things that we love, dancing, going out, having a good time. And none of those things we should have to look at and be like, yo, fuck you. Why can't I go out and have a good time? Why can't I celebrate? Why can't I spend my money on a little bit of this and a little bit of that? It's my fucking money. I worked for it. And the hardcore truth is that you can. Just don't overdo it, or always have a backup plan. Like I like what Dr. Boyce Watkins says. It's like if you go out and you buy something, take that same amount of money that you just spent and put it into a savings, or buy into that company that you bought from. You have to have tools and skills and things set in place to offset the negativity so that you don't, again, so that you're not building on faulty ground. If you're into materialism and you want to buy things, again, invest in those companies. Or buy things that are more natural, more healing, like Taurus energy, good food that builds you up. Um, that's food that's good for you, food that's going to enhance your skills and everything that you are presenting to the world. If you're going to buy jewelry, buy, stones and crystals and, all these things. This is a unk, I'm just trying to think, but you guys you get the picture here. Buy things for protection, for peace of mind, for healing. If you're going to buy things, books that are going to teach you something and can teach your children down the line, and things of that nature. And I feel like it's always more boring having those conversations because that's not what we're taught every day. It's not even necessarily that we don't want to. It's like this is what um everybody else is doing. If you've never had somebody tell you these kinds of things, why the fuck would you learn about those things? And again, we're going to dive deeper into that with the Jupiter and Gemini access, but those are just the facts, right? Balance is key here. um we're talking about moon opposite the sun. The sun is the ego, the moon is your emotions. And so where do you meet in the middle with that opposition? Um, do you really have to fight and argue with friends, and um, things have to come to an ending, and things of these natures? Having a process of places and spaces of honesty, and that doesn't mean that you get to keep that friend or relationship or situation. You have to have honest conversations, like knowing when it's time to leave, right? When it's time to let go of something, and being able to do that openly and honestly. Um, Let me just see here. Okay, so because you're always going to have to pay for the decisions that you make down the line, and so having a system, a process, a setup to address those things when they come up is important. Okay. You can't avoid that process no matter what. All right. And so the moon is going to oppose Jupiter, Venus, and the sun. And so this is being aware of what's out of balance with people who are making the rules against those who are not in possessions and power. So again, we're looking at higher authority, people who have the ability to make rules, laws, and regulations, as opposed to the everyday people from a general perspective. Other markets that are doing well and others that are not, and assessing those and looking at those, and where can you pull from that to make better decisions on an everyday level, to make sure that there's some kind of equal balance there. Other countries that are doing well and other countries that are not, again, to assess where can you do better. This is definitely going to be the transformation of other countries. I remember I was taking a environmental arts class, and I think I've shared this story on here, so I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but this is a really good example of how I view how really America needs to stop playing around, and what changes they need to make. But um I was taking an environmental arts class, and this was, anybody who's gone to college, you get to the end of the year and it's like, damn, all the good classes have been taken, and so you just gotta like choose something. It wasn't something that I wanted to take, I'll tell you that much. And I was like, I looked at that class from outside looking in, like, I ain't gonna learn shit from this class, I'll tell you. That was what was going through my mind. And boy, oh boy, was I wrong. That class was essentially showing us how the country, Brazil, um, had transformed their entire one. I don't think it was the entire country, but it was one city in particular that had just like a bunch of trash everywhere. Everything was disorganized. There was no, even the streets were fucked up and crazy. Like it was just a mess overall. And the government made a firm decision to sit down with all people involved with the changes that need where the changes needed to be made, and said, how are we going to fix this country, this city, whatever, and having an honest conversation about that and what it's going to take to do that. And overall had, like, I think it was something like 30-year plan. I could be over exaggerating with that number, but it was a pretty, extensive thing that was going to take time, right? And at the end, they showed what it looked like now, which was complete transformation of greenery, more like little rivers and lakes and ponds and parks, specific parks too. It was very, very detailed on how to put things in place for different diversification of people's interests and things that people might want to do. And even the transportation system was involved in this, and the way the trains and the buses were set up, like they changed everything. And essentially it put them in debt. They had to work really, really hard as a city to fund these changes that happen over time. And um, they were put in debt, but once they made all the changes, they made that back tenfold. And so I liked that example, thinking about this, from whether you take it looking from what America really needs to change or do, which, I'm not that optimistic that they will, but what little things you can do starting with your family and how you raise your children and the things that they are interested in, and um put them in positions and places that fulfill those types of changes that need to be made. Yeah, we have the problems societal wise and entertainment wise as problems, but the solution starts with the family. Again, cuppeth runneth over. Heal yourself, pass that through to your children, and evolve that out into the world. If we had more kids who were learning from get-go about the importance of pollution and, being interested in a lot of the things that are feeling right now, are not just feeling because the country sucks. They're also feeling because we are not being taught to be interested in those types of things. Those aren't the main things that we focus on. And so again, we can always blame everybody else for what's going wrong. But at the end of the day, at some point, you got to look in the mirror and take some accountability and responsibility for the way things are being played out too. Because a lot of these kids growing up today don't want no goddamn pollution job. They don't want no job that has to do with going green. They don't want jobs that are around these kinds of topics that it's going to take to change this country, right? And so we as parents have to do that and pass that on to our children. And then there's also the fucked up education system that we're not going to touch right now, because that we'll be talking about that in the Jupiter and Gemini video. But just to give a broader perspective of the healing that needs to be done in order to make these changes. It's not just that one perspective. And then, so with the moon, this is our unconscious things that we're unaware of, highlighting now where we're wiser, seeing from a higher vantage point, Phoenix rising. And I think Jupiter is the longevity of Phoenix rising, being in your God power, not being involved in petty discussions and things of that nature, just knowing, that's just going to be there until people grow and evolve. But once you get there, again, what are you teaching and showing other people that they can change too, in whatever way that is? And then you have the sun, which is in Gemini, which is communication, knowledge, learning, what you're understanding, um, and and what you think and how that forms into opinions, ideologies, beliefs, your view of the world, a new perspective, variety, options, diversity, and excitement. And then you have Venus again, which is this again, this is going to be romantic for some people, right? Um, Believing you're worthy of the blessings that are coming into you, creating peace and harmony, deepening the bond in relationships, having gratitude, creativity, beauty, um, and celebrating, or again, having a coming of age. What are you now passing down to the next generation? What lessons have you learned? What wisdom have you gained that you're giving to others? Or unfortunately, it could look like, a lot of concerts, restaurants, bars, date nights. Um, and again, that's not a bad thing as long as you're not overindulging, which I think is going to be a little bit hard, to be honest with you. It's 29 degrees. It's Jupiter. Jupiter's going to do what Jupiter does. But just remember that this is about illuminating where you could do a little bit better. And so expect drama in the news with celebrities, especially around finances, international banking, and resources. Um, Jupiter is optimistic and energized from this new version. You're being spiritually recognized, um, where you're coming from, what you're graduating from, what you've changed, and the wisdom um, that you have that's taking you to a place that you haven't been before. This is emotional growth. We're talking about the moon, you know. And then Pluto is going to sextile the moon and trine the sun. And this wants you to assess what you're taking in, how you're using this information and knowledge, the opinions, the stories. How is it helping you reflect and understand more of who you are, these new beliefs, beliefs that are, or old beliefs that are evolving, um, that you're sitting with, that's forcing you to change and see things differently, shifting your opinions of things you thought were true, allowing you to understand something in yourself that is going to be extremely empowering. I really, really love this energy. I really do. I think the outcomes of this are going to be pretty awesome. Um, and this is asking us for a need of honesty and truth, to express your truth, to embrace your philosophies, learning, teaching, sharing, exploring, and deepening your knowledge. You're likely to be more positive about the future, plan a few steps ahead using strategy and foresight, learn to overcome challenges and beat the odds. There can be a need for cooperation in competitive environments, learning to work together instead of against each other, and then balancing again between the individual efforts against the collective goals. And so I do think that is possible within your family unit, small circles, teams or groups that you're a part of. And you might even see these things flourishing on a level that is beyond anything that I could ever explain in this video. But again, everybody's at a different place with this. It really just depends. Overall, I think this shit is fire. Um, and I hope, you know, that everybody, well, no, fuck that, because I know people are going to get out of this what they need to. So I'm not even going to question it. I'm going to say, I love and appreciate y'all. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.